Who's ready for the facts? Let's go! Here are 50 amazing facts to blow your mind. In 2017, a 70-year-old Kansas man wrote a note to his wife that said that he would rather be in jail than be at home. Later in the day, he robbed a bank and told the teller working that he had a gun. After the teller gave him $3,000 in cash, the man waited in the lobby for police to arrive and arrest him. Because of his mental health, he was sentenced to 6 months under house arrest. Yeah, it didn't exactly turn out the way he wanted. A beta male mandrill is unable to reproduce offspring when they mate. However, when they become the dominant alpha male, their testicles get bigger and their skin color changes to red, which means that they are now able to reproduce. When an alpha male loses its dominance, the exact opposite happens. Christopher Robin Milne, who was the inspiration for Christopher Robin in Winnie the Pooh, written by his father A.A. Milne, served in World War II and killed 28 soldiers in the Battle of the Bulge. According to a story on Tribunus.com, a Marine fighting in Afghanistan called customer support for his M107 Barrett rifle when it malfunctioned in a firefight. The customer support employee talked him through the instructions on how to fix it, and the Marine was back in the fight moments later. A 34-year-old British man blew a small hole in his throat when he attempted to hold in a sneeze. See, should never hold in a sneeze. In 1994, a school teacher named Annalisa Flanagan broke the world record for loudest voice. She yelled the word quiet, which registered at 121.7 decibels. That's the equivalent of a jet engine. When comedian Jon Stewart wanted to propose to his wife, he called Will Shortz, who was the crossword editor at the New York Times. Stewart asked Shortz to help create a personalized crossword for his proposal to her, and he obliged. They married in 2000. After Heath Ledger's tragic death in 2008, Johnny Depp, Jude Law, and Colin Farrell all took up his unfinished role for the movie The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. The three actors then all donated their respective salaries to Ledger's daughter. Before William Goldman wrote The Princess Bride, he asked his young daughters what they wanted a story to be about. One said a princess and the other said a bride. Goldman said that'll be the title. In 2005, a judge in Niagara Falls sentenced all 46 people in his courtroom to jail after a cell phone rang and no one took responsibility for it. The 46 defendants spent 2 hours in a holding cell before being released, as the sentence was considered an abuse of judicial power. The common expression, "you can't have your cake and eat it too," was originally, "you can't eat your cake and have it too." This makes a lot more sense if you think about it. Actor Dick Van Dyke paid Walt Disney $4,000 to play the role of the banker Mr. Dawes Sr. in the 1964 classic film Mary Poppins. He was also, of course, more known for playing the role of Bert, the chimney sweeper. When a mother driving her child swerved her car off the road and into water, she panicked like anyone else would. However, this woman remembered an episode of Mythbusters that said to wait until the car fills up with water before opening the car door so the pressure becomes equalized. Despite wanting to get out, she patiently waited with her child for the car to be completely filled up. She then easily opened the car door and the two safely escaped. Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg spent $30 million for 4 houses that surrounded his own because he wanted more privacy. The country of Finland has 10 trees for every 1 person in the world. The production of the movie No Country for Old Men in Marfa, Texas had to be temporarily shut down for the day because smoke was rising from the nearby movie set of There Will Be Blood. President Franklin D. Roosevelt's Scottish Terrier Fala was so well known among Americans during World War II that American soldiers would ask other soldiers what the name of his dog was so that they could confirm that the soldiers that they were questioning weren't German spies. During the Donner Party in 1846, a local Native American tribe called the Washoe tribe attempted to help the struggling travelers by giving them food. The Donner Party refused their help and even shot at the tribe when they approached. The tribe decided to stop trying to help and eventually watched as the party turned to cannibalism on themselves. At the MTV Movie Awards in 2009, Sacha Baron Cohen dressed as a half-naked version of his character Bruno and landed on the lap of rapper Eminem after a planned flying malfunction onto the stage. Eminem left the awards disgusted, but later revealed that the two planned the done, and he laughed in his hotel room for 3 hours. When 2 actors from the hit television show Lost each got in trouble for drunk driving, they were both later killed off in an episode titled 2 for the Road. Blimps use less fuel on average in 2 weeks than 747 planes used to just taxi onto the runway. About 1 million people in Beijing live underground in nuclear bunkers that were constructed during the Cold War era. According to the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, out of the 250,000 to 300,000 known edible plants in the world, only 150 to 200 are actually consumed by humans. The same study also found that 75% of the world's food is generated from 12 plants and 5 different animal species. In 2001, a child psychologist was condemned for allowing a 15-year-old boy who was dying of cancer to have sex with a prostitute. The average weight of a common seagull is only 0.45 kilograms or 1 pound. The cast of Star Wars: A New Hope became famous so quickly that when Harrison Ford went to buy a record from a store one day, fans noticed him, rushed him, and ripped off half of his shirt. According to a study published by PLOS ONE, researchers found that looking left when lying about something is not true at all when they studied people giving testimonies for missing relatives. There was no correlation between the people who murdered their family members and looking left. Not making eye contact, however, is a different story. The popular holiday song Jingle Bells, written by James Lord Pierpont in the 1800s, was not originally a Christmas song, but a drinking song that was sang for horse sleigh races in Medford, Massachusetts. It was also first performed during a Thanksgiving service, not a Christmas one. Minnesota is the only state in the contiguous United States that has always had a feasible gray wolf population. The Guinness World Record for the most perfect games of Wii bowling occurred in 2012 by an 85-year-old man named John Bates from Onalaska, Wisconsin. He recorded himself completing 20,000 perfect games on hundreds of videos. The Great Seattle Fire on June 6, 1889 killed over 1 million rats, which actually helped the city get rid of its uncontrollable rodent population. The 1988 film Die Hard was originally a sequel to the 1968 film The Detective, starring Frank Sinatra. Because of this, Fox was contractually obligated to offer Sinatra the role, but he turned it down due to his old age. The largest population of Japanese people who live outside of Japan are in Brazil, with about 1,500,000. There was a British writer named Virginia Woolf who killed herself by filling her overcoat pockets with rocks and walking into the River Ouse by her house. This was because of her poor mental health and is a reminder to this day to many people to take care of your mental health. In 2017, Harvard scientists somehow inserted a GIF into the DNA of bacteria. The GIF was 5 frames of a galloping horse, and the researchers did this by transferring the moving image into the nucleotides of E. coli bacteria. There's a Japanese legend from 1803 in the Hitachi province called Utsurobun, where a young attractive woman washed ashore in an empty boat and spoke an unknown language. She also held a box that she would not let anyone touch or open. The people who discovered her repaired her odd boat and set her back into the sea. Since 1983, every member of Congress has received a monthly magazine subscription from Hustler. They tried to stop the subscription in 1984, but the US District Court later ruled that Hustler had the right to keep sending them subscriptions under the First Amendment. According to National Geographic, the Netherlands is the world's second largest exporter of food behind the United States, even though it's a small country with a highly dense population. Coffins and caskets are not the same thing. A coffin usually has 6 sides, while a casket only has 4 sides and is also rectangular. Coffins with a curve at the shoulder are the ones that are most commonly used in the United Kingdom. Before the invention of the elevator, the more expensive apartments were located on the lower floors instead of the upper ones. In 1990, someone watching America's Most Wanted thought that they recognized a girl who was kidnapped on the show. After alerting authorities, it was discovered that the girl was not the one from the show, but another one who was also kidnapped earlier. She was safely found and returned to her mother. The oldest pub in Britain is the Old Ferryboat Inn on the River Cam. The owners have said that the pub was founded in 560 AD, but it was more likely founded around 1400 AD AD according to estimates. There are no movies that have won Best Picture that have also featured an exploding helicopter. Also, the director who had exploded the most helicopters in his films is Roland Emmerich with a total of 10. He exploded 4 in Independence Day, 3 in Godzilla, and 3 in White House Down. The first black mayor in the Western world was Severiano de Heredia, who was born in Havana, Cuba. He became the mayor of Paris, France in 1879. Heredia died of meningitis at his home in Paris in 1901 at the age of 64. The milk from an eland antelope can last up to 8 months if prepared properly, compared to a cow which only lasts a few days. They can also produce more milk than a cow and is known to taste good. After famous science fiction writer Isaac Asimov had to have a triple bypass surgery in 1983, he contracted HIV from a blood transfusion. He later contracted and died of AIDS, but the cause was kept secret from the public because of the reputation the illness had at the time. In 1974, the Cleveland Indians held a 10-cent beer night during a game against the Texas Rangers. The fans got so drunk that they rioted during the 9th inning and caused the game to be forfeited, and the players had to fight them off with baseball bats. In 1998, a brave boy happened to survive a murder attempt by an older person. Despite the threats, the boy gave a deposition as to who the attacker was. The attacker was sent to prison for 40 years, and the victim's family was awarded $150 billion. Actor Jim Carrey's chipped tooth from the movie Dumb and Dumber was real. He took the crown out for production of the movie to look even dumber.